Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Let's Talk Football, of course, the one channel where we talk about the Premier League and a bit more about the Champions League. I hope you guys really enjoyed your weekend, because I did. Watching Manchester United really beat Aston Villa in the Premier League. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be giving a bit of an analysis, from what I saw in that game. And then I'm also going to be talking about one subject that, has been making the rounds on social media, particularly, on X. People have been talking about the fact that Bruno Fernandes deserves the PFA Player of the Season award. And, some people are against that. I'm talking about people who are not fans of Manchester United, and it's usual to expect that kind of reaction. If you're a fan that doesn't support a particular club, there's nothing any player in that club does that appears interesting to you. So you have fans who are saying that Bruno Fernandes does not deserve the PFA Player of the Season. But with what we've seen so far, and with just about 8 or 9 games to go in the season, I personally feel like he deserved the PFA Player of the Season award. So far he has about the highest number of assists, I think about 16 so far, and then he has scored about 7 goals as well. So he's really been incredible so far this season. All right, so talking about, and of course I'm going to talk about other matches that were played. I'm also going to be talking about the Champions League, what we saw in the first leg of the round of 16 encounters last week. By the way, this week is the second leg, and of course we're going to see some teams get kicked out of the round of 16, and then of course we're going to see other teams qualify for the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So talking about Manchester United's match against Aston Villa yesterday, I think I was one person who I didn't really give it to Manchester United. That's regardless of the fact that they've been impressive with what we've seen so far this season. I was a bit apprehensive. I expected a draw, to be very honest with you, because coming out of that Newcastle game, losing 2-1 to Newcastle, I became really afraid. And then, even though I remained positive, Casemiro was the first to get the goal in the game, putting Manchester United ahead of Aston Villa. And then before you knew what was happening, Aston Villa got back into the game, and then it was 1-1. So I already lost hope, and I became afraid. I was even thinking that Aston Villa were going to make it 2 or even 3 and then win Manchester United, but the guys proved me wrong. You saw that very wonderful goal from Matheus Cunha, who, by the way, has been very impressive all season. Courtesy of that, assist, the second assist of the game from Bruno Fernandes. Of course, he was the one that gave, it was his corner that, gave Casemiro that first goal in the game. He brought in the cross from the corner, and then Casemiro, in his usual manner, used his head to, strike the game behind the Aston Villa goalkeeper. That's talking about Emi Martinez. Šeško came on board rather, and then of course in his usual manner he got the final goal of that game. If you watch that game, you can really tell that Šeško has found himself back. I was just smiling, I was just jumping, and I said, yeah, these are my guys, man. So Manchester United is back into the top 4, with about 54 points currently. Of course, Arsenal is still leading the table, with 70 points, followed by Man City, who sadly drew, their match last weekend. I think they're about 61 or 62 points currently, with of course a game in hand. But then that match against Aston Villa yesterday really proved the extent to which this Manchester United side, have found their confidence back. I just hope that they're going to continue like this and even win the remaining 8 games. He go mad, because when the season started, there were not many people who gave Manchester United a chance. Many supporters had written off Manchester United and said that it was even possible they were going to finish in the relegation zone. But of course the club and the management and the players kept faith, and then they did all of the necessary changes they were supposed to do, and then finally they are getting the result. Virtually every player yesterday was outstanding and on top of their game, starting from the goalkeeper, Casemiro. When that game ended, I took to X and said that I'm beginning to feel like Casemiro deserves another year, added to his contract. It is supposed to expire this season, but man, if you watch Casemiro all through the season, even though there have been times when he had mistakes here and there, I mean, he's been a very significant part of this Manchester United team. He's played a very crucial role, to getting Manchester United to where they are currently in the top of the table. All right, so I feel like the club management needs to give him an extra year, of course. Given his performance, given his contribution to the team, even though, of course, he's not getting any younger. Talking about what has been the conversations that people have been having on social media, and that's the fact that Bruno Fernandes deserves the Player of the Season award in the Premier League. I'm not speaking because I personally have sort of liking for Bruno Fernandes, but I'm speaking because he deserves that award. I mean, there's virtually no game that Manchester United has played that he hasn't provided assists. I mean, if you come online, I've had people, say that even if you're going to judge him based on the passes, the assists he has given so far this season, that most of them lack quality. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean most of them lack quality? If you think it's easy, why not get on that pitch and then provide the assist? Let's see. No matter how simple an assist might look like, it's not still easy. It's not still easy. Let's just give him his flowers. Bruno Fernandes deserves the Player of the Season award. I mean, I remember sometime last week that even before Manchester United's game against Newcastle, I said that, I mean, with what he's done so far, Bruno Fernandes deserves the Player of the Season award. And then yesterday, he provided another 2 assists. Come on. So why? I mean, we should give him the Player of the Season award already, even before the season ends, if you ask me, because to be honest, he deserves it. Forget the fact that, okay, most of the times we appear to be biased, because we support different teams and all of that. If we see through, we could talk him. You understand? So it just like what happened when, I think it was it Cole Palmer or Phil Foden? I know these 2 people have won it. I think it was Cole Palmer. That season when he won it, the guy was on top of his game, and even though I am not a Chelsea fan, I said, okay, this guy deserves it. So now that it's the turn of Bruno Fernandes, why not just, give it to the guy? I mean, he truly, truly deserves it. He's been providing assists, he's been scoring. I mean, he's been the main man behind the success that Manchester United has, really recorded this season so far. And then you can begin to talk about other players like Casemiro. You can begin to talk about the goalkeeper. You can begin to talk about Kobe Mino. You can begin to talk about Brian Mbeumo and then Matheus Cunha. Talking about Champions League. So this season, this week, the second round or the second leg of the round of 16 features returns. All right. So with what we saw in the first round or in the first leg of the round of 16, it got difficult for English league. So I mean, we saw how Man City we saw how Real Madrid beat Man City in that first leg. I think he ended 3-0 thereabout. Then we saw how PSG really dealt with Chelsea when Chelsea thought that they were coming back. It's not been easy for Chelsea. So they lost in Champions League. They lost against Newcastle, sadly. All right. So I think it was just Arsenal that drew their game. So Chelsea lost, Man City lost. Which other team is in the Champions League? I think Newcastle lost as well. All right, so I don't see, even though of course Arsenal fans would argue that Arsenal is likely going to get to the final, but personally I don't see that happening. Yeah, so the only trophy I feel like Arsenal are comfortably going to win this season is the Premier League. I mean, given that Manchester City are not even making good use of their chances. Fine, they have a game in hand, but I mean, they drew their last game. So Arsenal currently sits in the top of the table, with 70 points. That's a whole lot of gap. So if Man City are able to win the game that they have in hand, so it will take them to, I think, 64, 65. So, and Arsenal are likely not going to lose any game as far as I'm concerned. And given how determined they are this season to actually end with a trophy, or more, don't the trophy drought, don't they, man? All right. So yeah, I'm giving it to them. The Premier League, they're going to win. But you see Champions League, it's very difficult because PSG, they're really showing us why they are the champions of Europe. So you see PSG, you have Bayern, and then you have Galatasaray. I think they drew against Liverpool. Yeah, I remember. So you see PSG, you see Bayern, you see Real Madrid. They're looking a bit strong, and I don't see Chelsea moving beyond the round of 16. Sadly, almost since this coach came, when he first took over the club, and then he was winning all those small children, Chelsea fans were just busy jumping up and down and saying, yeah, we've got the man back, we've got the right man for the job and all of that. In my mind, I'm like, you never really get serious team. They say you don't get better coach. Now that they're beginning to, meet serious teams, they don't see what it mean, today competition. Yeah, so Chelsea is not progressing beyond the round of 16. Man City, I don't see that happening as well. Arsenal might progress, but they might just crash along the way. Sadly, they might just crash along the way. But of course, we wait to see what happens. I mean, like I would always say, it's football and you can expect anything. So I want you to share your thoughts in the comment section. Do you feel like Bruno Fernandes deserves the PFA Player of the Season? If he doesn't, who do you think has done well, to be able to earn that award? What are the trophies that you see Arsenal winning this season? Do you see them winning the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and which other cup? Like some of their fans have been busy saying online. Do you see them winning on all of those trophies, or do you see them winning just the Premier League? Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.